Hello and welcome to the Overly Animated Podcast, where we take animation seriously. We provide fan-oriented and analytic discussions on a variety of animated shows, movies, and anime, currently featuring Steven Universe, Gravity Falls, Miraculous Ladybug, Star Wars Rebels, Ruby, and Adventure Time. I'm Dylan Hysen, and today I'm joined by Delaney Stovall.
Yo.
Today, Delaney and I will be discussing the latest episode of Steven Universe. It could have been great with an apostrophe and a contraction, as confirmed by the episode title.
Oh man.
Yeah, could have. Third episode this week of Steven Universe, and seemingly the first of the two-part mid-season finale, which I think seems very apparent this episode.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, obviously a huge episode. We got to get into all of it. Of note, we're recording this literally right after the episode ended. I don't have my transcriptions down exactly, so bear with my phrasing of the very important mythology revealed throughout this episode. Okay. I wish I instantly got an episode transcript when it ended, but alas, no. You can find out everything about this podcast at overlyanimated.com. Let's get right into it. Delaney, what did you think of It Could Have Been Great?
I liked it. Peridot is the lamest as usual, and I enjoy Peridot being lame. The song, which I didn't listen to, even though it was put up
yesterday,
I could have listened to it. Yeah, I didn't listen to it, so this is my first time hearing the song. I thought it was great, loved it, cute. I enjoy playing with Peridot and doing these kinds of things with Peridot. And mythology reveal. We went to the moon, and Lion is OP as usual. And it's had everything that we love about Steven Universe in it, like Peridot being lame, Lion, and it was a good episode. It did end at a really awkward part though. It didn't do the normal ending, which messed me up.
Yeah. No, this is definitely seems like part one of two of this.
Definitely, which is why it was is it over?
Yeah, the only comparison I have is The Return, the first of the two-part season one series finale. I mean, I guess the mid-season finale and of Mirror Gemos and Gem were kind of paired too, yeah. But this is definitely paired to Message Received, as you can kind of tell by the title of that one. I have been listening to this song basically constantly since Cartoon Network put it up yesterday, and it's the best thing ever. And the beginning of this episode is so chill, but yet weird. I don't know. It was really hard for me to decipher at first what was happening, because we actually got the first 3 minutes of the episode between the leaked preview and then the song, which Cartoon Network put up. Yeah, I don't know. And then just the episode completely shifts and they go to the moon and we reveal a ton of mythology. Nothing super earth shattering, like I say,
Earth shattering.
Yeah, but kind of. I think the map people have been showing that map. I guess we've seen it before, have we? Or have they just?
Yeah, we've seen the map before.
So seeing the map again and seeing it on the screen for a long time, it makes me think that the wonky structure of the continent is very deliberate, which it should have been obvious all along. They're not going to just make a weird Earth map. But this is basically confirmation that this is an alternate version of Earth, I think. Yeah. Which is my giant theory, so I'm very happy.
Which is also, I messaged Dylan and I saw this map and I was like, well, wait, hold up.
Which, yeah, I was not sold the previous time, but now they're showing it again and there's still no Russia and there's still no Western Africa. I think that we can...
And South America's wonky looking.
This is not our Earth, I'm pretty sure.
No.
Okay, well,
it's not.
This is a larger discussion. There's lots of... So, I don't know. There's the first part, which is incredible with Steven and Peridot, and I have a lot to say about that. And there's a ton to say going into tomorrow's episode. And we got to talk about failed redemption arcs, and it's going to be great. And we've talked about this many times before on the podcast. But there's that, and then there's the mythology reveal, the stuff with the gems on the moon. I think all of that is good, but that kind of stuff is harder to decipher on first viewing because we're kind of tuned into, at least I am. Maybe I'm more tuned into the mythology of the show than other people, but I'm hyper focused on new information. So I think more important is how all the characters react to stuff going on. And I think everything Peridot does seems right here. It's very interesting though. Yeah, we need to talk about it. So we're going to start with, there's basically 2 parts of the episode, right? Let's start with the first 3 minutes and life and death and love and birth and whatever. It's great. I love the song. It's on YouTube. Go listen to it a lot.
Awesome.
Yeah. This is the prototypical Rebecca Sugar on the ukulele song, right? And Steven singing it is great. And what they're doing is they're talking about the music keys, right? And The do re mi fa so. Was that the actual? What's the proper word for that? I'm not a music person. The notes, keys. Um,
Uh, I mean, that's the scale.
the
Like,
scale, right? And
I think
each
that's what
each
it's
one is an individual blank.
like. I will preface this with I'm a violinist, not a vocalist, so like it is a little bit different. Like this is not how I approach music. So
Their interactions are just really fast. I'm gonna call it the keys, I guess. And
well, they do talk about keys. Like it's like you have the words have to match the key, and then Peridot like pulls out a key, and it's like, are you
yeah, that
serious?
was a little. I'm not a big fan of stuff like that, but it was okay. Um, I just when they're talking, Steven's like saying the keys of what he's singing, and then Peridot
Yeah.
instantly recognizes the pattern because she's like a robot, which she's literally a robot. And and then Steven sings something, and then it's like using mi fa mi ti la, and then she's like sings it in the tune, and it's just I don't know, I don't know if this is like this is the type of thing that is kind of I don't know. I felt like this was not obvious the first time I watched these two things. What's happening here, and it's kind of really interesting to me. It's not. I mean, it's not that interesting of a not that complex of a topic, but like Peridot is like Steven's teaching Peridot about music through pattern recognition and stuff like that
Yeah,
because like
which is interesting.
that's how she's going to relate to it and she can
Yeah.
instantly pick up on the pattern. And then the best part is when she's like, when Steven's like, you should write a song. And then this is like incredible. Peridot says, I guess we're already here. I guess we already know we've all got something to fear, nowhere to go. I think you're all insane, but I guess I am too. Anybody would be if they're stuck on this earth with you. And
It's so good.
it's great. And it's like also great in context because the song serves a very specific purpose, which is, direct lead up to a decision Peridot has to make here next episode, which we
Yep.
very obviously see at the end of the episode with the little whatever
Which
she
we
has.
predicted like 4 episodes
I mean, the next
ago.
episode's called "Message Received," right? Like we know what's
Yeah.
happening.
Yeah.
I,
I meant like the last time we actually had a run of Steven Universe episodes, we had this exact conversation.
well, yeah, okay. So you're right. It's only like 3 episodes or 4 episodes ago or something. We were having the discussion of what's Peridot ultimately going to do. Is she going to betray the crystal gems or betray
Yeah.
the homeworld, right? And I was very adamant about Peridot has not had enough development yet in order to realistically go with the crystal gems in a decision type scenario, which is she's going to face now. And this week has just been like constantly picking at that assumption that I've had. Like they are aware that this is a character who is fully ingrained with one view of the world and I guess the universe in this case. It's really difficult to have them betray that view. Like
Yeah.
this is the main thing to talk about here is Zuko's arc in Avatar: Last Airbender season 2. That is what I call, and I think TV Tropes is a different name for this, but a failed redemption arc. All season Zuko's leading up to this big decision he's gonna have to face, whether to betray the Fire Nation or not, and then he ultimately lapses back through, despite all his development, despite the prodding by Iroh, and he and he goes along with Azula. And it's such an incredible moment, and it just makes so much sense. It's so kind of cathartic given his arc and given everything we constantly see with him. And I think most of these types of arcs do end in like a lapse. And this is the big one to talk about. I mean, there's another recent one on House of Cards, but I don't know how much the audience has heard of this one. But it's like usually it's like Peridot is even more ingrained than Zuko, though. Peridot literally is coming from a place where there's no individuality. Like it's even more extreme than I previously thought. Like before this week, right? The answer told us that like each gem on the homeworld literally does not have a concept of an individual person. So it's like
Like
how
they operate as units.
they operate as units. They operate based on completely on their expectations, and maybe things have loosened up slightly in 5,000 years since that episode, but not really. And it also that episode's so brilliant because it gives us a lot of context for everything Peridot's been doing, like since she's been on the screen. And it's like we've been and we learned that since Peridot's been interacting with Crystal Gems, it's her like developing a sense of self. That's what we saw the 2 episodes before the hiatus, and it's just we see it more here. We see her singing, like this has got to be so confusing for her and stuff like that. And at the end of the song, she sings the line that Steven, said. It's Steven's song, I guess, but it's is anything that's worth more than peace and love on the planet Earth, right? And that's just summarizing her decision to come next episode. And the big question is, what's she going to do, and is it realistic, right?
Yeah.
I was very adamantly in the peridot cannot go with the crystal gems camp before this week, but this song, the interactions for the especially the answer have kind of been um, have kind of loosened me up on that viewpoint a lot. I think they are properly leading us towards potentially a successful redemption arc, which is
And
interesting.
they're also like, and it's not like, and regardless of which one she picks, it'll be realistic in the way that we're actually going to face a decision that's realistic. Like we're going to have stakes on both sides. It's not one of those where you go into something you're like they're definitely going to do this. Like it doesn't matter. Why are we even pretending this is a choice? Like no, this is going to be an actual like moment because and it's like she's going to have to choose. It's either going to be Yellow Diamond or Steven and she'll have to pick. And I think like it's really impressive how we've gotten to this point with knowing Peridot as, the lame villain who shows up every so often and like just messes up, to Peridot, the kind of ally to Peridot's here and the Gyms hate her, but Steven loves her, so it's fine. And then so it'll be an actual decision, and I think that's like I'm really excited for it because we've actually built to that point. Like it's you can think one way or the other, but the point like we've got it's stakes on both sides. Like it'll be realistic no matter which one she decides.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's not a given. Like that's like you have to, it takes a lot to get to the
Well,
point that you're talking
well,
about.
what I'm talking about is that when we get to that moment, it'll be like we've reached a point where we can actually have a decision and it not be like completely like okay, she's going to go with
I
Yellow
mean,
Diamond. Like
I
it's
think I ultimately agree with you, but like I think what you're saying is it takes so much development and focus on this arc, and like we have to see so much from Peridot, and that's the thing. Like
yeah.
the season has just been so hyper focused on Peridot. It's like I don't know. I feel looking back, this seems like such a huge risk, and it didn't work at first, and it's just we're going to spend like almost the entire season taking leading up to making this character like face a realistic like chance of joining the crystal gems. Like you need a like really good character, and Peridot has been arguably the best character in the show the past several episodes. So I think that it's I don't know. I still think it was really risky. I don't know why they did it, but it seems like it's paying off. I mean, these Peridot scenes are incredible. Peridot singing was the best thing ever. Um, let's continue on talking about this. We everything is going to be colored by the Peridot decision coming up, but there's a lot of stuff here too. Um, I also just love the montage of all of them working on the drill during this and Peridot interacting with them. The shot of Peridot and Pearl is great. So yeah, then we do see a scene before they go to the moon. She's come so far. It feels like yesterday she was trying to kill us. No, that was several weeks ago, says Pearl. Good
Such a
job.
Pearl
Good job,
line.
Pearl.
Quality.
Oh, yeah, Stephen hugging Peridot too was great. They need.
Well, Garnet like pats her back and she's like about to go into attack mode.
Yeah, that was good. They need coordinates for the drill apparently, and the diamond base, I think they call it, on the moon.
Yes.
Yeah, Lion, can you warp me up to the first time we've seen Lion do anything in quite a while? I think.
Yes.
Can you warp me up to the moon? No more naps. I guess it was the naps, and then
That was really funny.
I'm not a I'm
Lion
not
is
the
so OP.
Lion. I'm not the biggest fan of how they use Lion right now. Like obviously they're building up towards something very big involving him and Rose. There's a lot of theories about what I see him and I forgot the substance that he might be or whatever. And it's I don't know. He's just a little. He's not a constant presence, and he doesn't make much sense. But we're gonna get
He
somewhat.
just shows up to do magical lion things,
Yeah,
which was part of his charm in the beginning was, oh my God, lions in this episode, something big's about to happen. And
it's.
then
I think it's been going on a little long. We need some
no,
constant
it has
Lion
been.
stuff. There we.
I agree. Though it is really funny that we're just like, okay, Lion's here, and Lion is so ridiculously OP. Like Lion, like of course Lion can get us to the moon.
Yeah,
It's great.
I mean it makes sense with what we've seen from him. He can just
I
make
know
portals.
it's just really funny.
Steven and Peridot riding in Lion's Mane was great. That shot, which we saw in that preview, which they keep showing us, which
The promo they've
the
shown a couple
promo.
times.
I don't think I hate anything more in the world than that promo at this point. It was actually kind of like cleverly toned, like a tone shift promo, and it was, but yeah, no, it's the
No.
worst at this point. Okay, so they're in the base on the moon. There's the diamond symbol on the floor. There's the door that Amethyst opened up. We on the moon. We up. Yeah. Yep. We on the moon.
We on on the moon.
Steven's moon boy. Our physical forms adjust automatically to that. I think she says gravity, but I wasn't sure of the planetoid, of any planetoid.
I think she said gravity.
Yeah. So, and she also in that explanation said that we're gems meant to conquer other like planets, life forms. So I need to go back and listen to that.
Yeah.
That line was very important. That's potentially the most important line of the
Yes.
episode. Meant to
Yes.
conquer. Like I think everything in this episode supports my theory about the gems. Like I don't want to make this like, which is that they are a created species, which we know at this point they are created species.
Yeah.
But like, oh my goodness, and this is like probably not. It's obviously it's an alternate version of Earth. There's a friggin' thing in the middle of it, but like, oh
Yeah.
yeah, so much here. I need to analyze this episode. I apologize for not having all of your mythology explanations, you audience, down pat here. I'll probably make a long post on Tumblr at some point between tomorrow. Said gems, yeah. So if we didn't really know that there were like a warrior, like a what's the word for this? Just like a species that goes out and conquers other planets. There's a sci-fi term for this.
Yeah.
Uh,
It's a
um,
I can't
I'll
think
think of
it
it.
right now
Yeah,
either.
but that's interesting because I mean it makes that hive minds usually are that. Like the one in
Yeah.
Ender's Game is that type of thing, right? Um, and so, but they're like a weird hive mind based on that looks like humans that aren't that have actual individual that are capable of individual personalities. Yeah. Each diamond is on the wall. Behold, yellow diamond, says Peridot, confirming that. I mean, we already knew that she reported to Yellow Diamond, confirming
Yeah.
that she kind of like worships Yellow. It seems like she's in Yellow Diamond's court, though she doesn't say that here.
Yeah, well she only refers to Yellow Diamond, so
Who are these diamonds anyway? They seem like a big deal. I like that. The show is this
yeah.
week is very self-referential. Yeah, like you have. They're the gem matriarchs. They make up something governing body or whatever like that. I didn't catch that phrasing. And we are all made to serve them, she says, right? So,
Yeah.
and then Garnet's like, and then it's like, even though some of us don't anymore. So, again, there's two references, paradox, like we're made to do this, which goes along with what we saw in on Monday's episode.
Yeah.
We didn't, so this is new information. This is like, I know a lot of people are like, we already knew this. Like, no, you didn't. We didn't know that they're gem matriarchs. Like, I know you assumed that, but that doesn't mean we knew that. So just like, this is new information here. This is a big deal. There's like, so my big question is going to be, we don't need to talk about this too much, but like, how are they the gem matriarchs? They obviously didn't create themselves in the species. Like that doesn't seem like
Right.
it's possible. Like maybe they were created first and they created everyone else, but like they're left in charge by the people who created the gems. Like how does this make any sense? That's my big question now. How does the diamonds fit into my theory?
Well, that's I don't know the name for it, but that's like a super sci-fi trope. Like having like because we could see the diamonds as like as a lesser governing body. Like they're just the overseers of essentially the gems would be. They're just the grunts.
Well, if you talk about the like the big comparison that we both know about for the gems is like they're Daleks, right? So like
Yeah.
there's like the Supreme Dalek who we see in the season of Doctor Who,
Yeah.
and it's like, or what?
Well, I would consider in this case if we're going to introduce something that created the gems and the diamonds, I could see us being introduced to a new alien race in Steven Universe.
Yeah, see, that's the. I mean, again, we shouldn't spend too much time on it. That's the natural direction to go with it, but then
Yeah.
it still doesn't make sense why they look like humans unless humans create them. Basically, is my argument. And again, I think and I do think it's a little bit hard to envision the series just introducing another alien race. Like I think it's easier to just take the one we already know, like the human species we already know. That is my big theory. Okay, look up the alternate Earth theory on hopefully on YouTube. Anyway, I think this held up well in the course of. I know we should note that this week has just had the more mythology reveals than the show's ever had. This episode is one of the biggest mythology heavy episodes the show has had. I think Monday was a big one too. The last two episodes before the hiatus were. I wonder if this is a new norm. It's just because we're at the midway point in the season. Probably that one.
Yeah, probably.
Like we're gonna go back to having onion episodes at some point. I'm not looking.
At some
forward
point, we
to it.
have to.
I'm not looking forward to it. We don't have to. I think it's a miscalculation by the show. Like I think this is a different show now, but we'll see.
Well, I really doubt I don't think we've reached like the Gravity Falls point.
No. Yeah. Well,
Like that's not.
a little bit. I think it's a little bit like that.
No, I don't think we've reached a Gravity Falls shift.
Nothing
Like I
is
don't think
like nothing is as extreme as Gravity Falls, where it just becomes a completely different show. Like it's still going to take place like in Beach City, but I think you can just stop focusing on the lesser characters at some point. They can be there, but I don't think they need entire episodes devoted
I
to
mean,
them.
it'll really just depend on how this mid-season finale plays out because like that's why everything changed
Yeah, I mean, I
with
assume not much is going to change, right?
right.
Because nothing's not. I mean,
Well, it's like if Peridot like if
she's
they
summoning down like yeah. See, it depends what's really happening here.
yeah,
It could
because
just be like a projector.
like
Um,
like they're gonna save the Earth, duh. Like otherwise, like
Also,
this would be
yeah,
the saddest cartoon
it's like
ever.
what's happening here? Are we gonna have Peridot contact Homeworld, or are we gonna have the drill come into play, or both? That's the big question for
Yeah,
tomorrow. And this episode leads it to seem like the drill's not happening yet. It still seems like there's
yeah.
some time for that. So we could have the midseason finale and still not have the drill resolved.
Yeah, no, I've actually I that was my prediction that I assume that we'll have the mid-season finale and we still will not like the cluster is not going to be resolved and like we're not there yet. Like we're just having like the breaking point before things really begin.
Or it could just be like, oh, it's oh they. I mean, once they have the coordinates, then they have the drill, but it could just be like, oh, it's resolved now. You know.
Mm. The only thing is they have to get the drill to the cluster, but then like what are they gonna do?
Yeah, which okay, let's talk about that. So they go upstairs. Where's the cluster? The staircase. Go upstairs. Literally walking in the footsteps of the diamonds. Peridot in the console. Golly, it's so elegant. I like that. So simple, so perfect. Golly, it's so elegant. Says Peridot. How do they? Why do they talk in distinctive ways? This is my thing. It's like I'm having trouble conceptualizing such a hive mind with different personalities. Like, how do they? How does Peridot have her own like type of? Do all Peridots talk
Well,
like that? I don't know.
I would assume so because all the rubies talk the same way.
That's true. Yeah. So
We only figured out who the ruby was by what they said, not by how they spoke.
yeah. Uh, yeah. Maybe I want to see other dorky Peridots now.
Yeah. I would
uh,
assume, like, I mean, and it kind of fits, like, what they do. Like, of course, Ruby just wants to smash everything. Like, she's a bodyguard.
yeah.
And then Peridot is, like, the tech. So, like, obviously, there are probably all, like, nerdy little Peridots.
Yeah. Glowy hand Dealey Steven activates it. Steven sits on the throne and then it's like Peridot sit there. I liked that. That was
Freaks
yeah.
out. That was adorable, though.
Yeah.
Peridot
They
gets up there and, like, giggles.
they have the big monitor and they say the word file. I'm very skeptical that their computer system works like ours does and that they would have files. But then again, why are they speaking English? So,
Exactly. So,
so it
like, does
does.
it matter?
Yeah, I mean, it matters to me. I need this resolved. Why do they have computer files? The cluster. Yeah, where are you? It's there's okay. So she finds the cluster. It's in a beta kindergarten in Facet 9. Facet, I think she said. Interesting.
Yeah.
Do they divide the Earth into facets? It seems like it was over the Caribbean Ocean or Caribbean Sea or whatever.
I was not paying enough
I
attention.
think it's either in the Atlantic or like near like you know like Dominican Republic, et cetera, et cetera. That's what it seemed
I
like
mean,
to
I
me.
thought it was the Pacific, but I was not paying attention.
Oh, we could be wrong. It's over.
I thought,
It was over water though, right?
yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
Yes.
Which I don't.
Also, I think by saying facet, like I think they divided the Earth up like you would like a rock, like how they're gonna break it apart. Like, they use a lot of terminology in relation to them being gems, so I think that's like they might
Yeah,
divide it up how they're gonna like
which
load
is
up.
annoying, of course, but interesting. I wonder if that is like a mineralogy like term, right? Facets. It's the smaller of the two kindergartens. The clusters deep in the mantle, 2,500 units down. So I thought it was in the core, which didn't make any sense.
Apparently not.
It's just in the mantle, which makes a lot more sense because
Yes.
we have a liquid core, I think, right? Or do we? I don't know.
I
Yeah,
part of the outer core is liquid, the inner core is like
and it's just
it's
all of it's way too hot to store something anyway. But
yeah, and it's
mantle
all like
makes somewhat more sense.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yes, liquid core is why we have a magnetic field, so otherwise our planet would be
Although
dead.
if it's an alternate Earth, it really could be any type of
Yeah, we don't know.
could be different. I mean, there's no Russia. There's a hole in Russia, so
Yep. It's
yeah.
true.
Um, they can feed this data to the drill console. Steven wants to play games on the console, not used for games. This was used for
I
planning
really
the
wanted them to play like
Play like what would their game?
I
I
want them
don't
to play solitaire. That's what I wanted to
solitaire.
happen.
That would be the
Like they would
most.
have diamond solitaire.
That would be the most gem-like game. Except if it's that what the different suits would just be all diamonds though. It wouldn't
It'd
just
be
be
great.
yeah. Used for planning the colony. The map of the Earth, which we talked about. It's only 5% of originally planned. It's like I guess what did they have context for that line? Five
Well, they
percent.
said, yeah, like it was like they had two kindergartens and I guess the cluster, and like the original plan for the planet was when she like did the
Yeah,
big,
yeah, 5% of the original vision, I guess. Yeah,
yeah, was like
spires, kindergartens,
incomplete.
galaxy warps. They just name all of the random terminology we
Yeah,
know about how gems interact with the Earth. We don't. I don't think we know what spires are for. That's well, I don't,
right.
kindergartens, growing
Like
gems.
they've gone to spires before, but we're like,
It's
what do
like what
these
is yeah,
do?
and it's been like it was like really early in the series too.
Yeah.
Um, was going to be perfect. Look at it, and would have meant the extinction of all life on Earth. Rose Quartz believed all life on Earth was worth protecting.
No,
Um,
she said all life was worth protecting.
all life was worth protecting.
Yeah.
Would have
It
been
wasn't just on Earth, which is
no
what it was interesting.
yeah.
Because
Um,
I was expecting the line to be on Earth, but she said all life was worth protecting, and I was like, oh man.
we've heard this about Rose before, right? I mean, there's a lot of things people assume. Like we've heard that she
Yeah.
believed all life was worth protecting. I think we've heard something similar to that line.
Well, probably something similar, but I don't think it was necessarily as like profound as all life was worth protecting. Like she had like her
What other
garden,
life
and
is?
that's the
What other life is there?
only, like, well, you know what I mean? Like I don't think it was worded specifically like that. And I
Is
think
this
the
hinting?
closest we got to it
Is
was
this
maybe something
hinting
they
at
said on
more
the.
aliens? Is that what we're doing?
I would possibly.
I still don't. I don't see that, but yeah, we could. Um, it would. There would have been no cluster if there was a colony. You can thank you, Rose Quartz. You doomed the planet. You were talking about things you don't understand, and then Garnet smashes the thing.
Yep.
What did I say? I'm just stating a fact. The rebellion didn't really save Earth; it just delayed the inevitable, says Peridot. And then Steven's disappointed. I thought you finally understood why we're doing that or whatever. And then Peridot takes the diamond thing, and Steven sees it.
Yep.
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 Yep. Uh, so what's new with this and things we covered? I mean, we saw the like planned state of the Earth, right? But we knew it would have wiped out all life anyway.
And also, I don't think we've necessarily like approached this topic before on how hopeless the gyms feel, like without Rose, and then also like their fight. Like they want to save the Earth, and like they can't really save the Earth, and that kind of thing.
Well, it's like Peridot's just clearly taking up the viewpoint of like, oh, the gems want the Earth to die, the Earth to like all life on Earth to go away, so it will. It's like it's like this how it's interesting also
Yeah.
how she processes the um like an outside like disruption, right? Like it's like how Sapphire in Monday's episodes out. It's like they think they know exactly what's going to happen. So, but the rebellions happen, but Peridot's like, oh, it's still going to eventually happen, right? So they still
Yeah.
maintain their kind of certainty and like um, lack of any potential different futures, even though even with an unexpected thing happening like that, it's interesting. Yeah, I think Monday's
Well, I think
episodes
it's
are
just it. Well, it's just the whole conquering like species like thought process because she completely believes in the power of homeworld.
yeah. Well, it's yeah. I think it's a lot different if you think of the gems as like a conquering species. I honestly didn't think of them like that before. I mean, I know there's a colony, but like
Well,
it
I mean, it's yeah.
like you can have colonies and not
Well,
be
it's
like a world eating species, right?
well, I mean, to have like well, it's also a like it's because me and you are both American and we're like colonies. Okay, like exploring. No, because that's how we're taught colonies. If like other people are taught and colonies are the result of imperialism. Like that's the only reason to have a colony. They're imperialistic. So it's based on that viewpoint and like I didn't think about it either because and also it's we don't really talk about homeworld. Like this is literally the first time we're really having a lot learning a lot about the gems and homeworld because everything we get is from the crystal gems and like they're completely different from how homeworld is. That's why they're on Earth. So it just wouldn't be anything people really thought about before. But and of course because of the crystal gems, we're like, oh well, they're just. And also we're so used to the plot line of like conquering Earth that like all of these plot lines are always so focused on just conquering Earth. and we don't usually give that much thought, as opposed unless you watch a show like Doctor Who, where it's like, oh, they're just conquering everything. Earth's just like next in line, and it's really easy to watch a show like Steven Universe and just be like, okay, it's just Earth. Like Earth is like because it's we're always so Earth centric, and obviously we live on Earth, but so
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot we don't know here. I'm like looking up related topics to this world eating thing. I'm seeing the Eldrazi and magic, Galacticus in the Marvel universe, Cthulhu, stuff like that. I mean, we mentioned Ender's Game. That's what I was reminded of, kind of with the hive mind. I don't remember a lot. There's a while since I read that book, but like hive mind, take over world, alien species. The gems just really seem different than all of those, like because they seem like conscious, and I know they in the answer we learned that they're kind of not. They have the capability to be, but they're like blinded by it somehow. um but it's so
well,
interesting that there's
it's really no different than Star Wars. Like stormtroopers, they're like ignoring clones. Like we can talk. Okay, I can't talk about that, but
ignoring the
like
prequels, then there's no clones, right?
yes,
So
like there are no clones. So
yeah,
stormtroopers are just people, and they just do what the Empire says because they're stormtroopers.
yeah.
Obviously, they could do other stuff, but they don't because they're stormtroopers.
I never thought of the
Like,
Empire as like a killing, like a taking over worlds and killing off life, like type of thing.
well, well, if you're more in like that's because it's not what you watch in Star Wars, but like extended universe and that is what the Empire is. That's why they fight. That's why the rebels fight the Empire because they conquer worlds, they take over, establish their government, and move on. And also, the Empire is very anti-alien,
Yeah,
so
but
they
the
do go through.
Empire, I mean, knowing from watching Rebels, the Empire doesn't like kill everyone though. There's
Well,
like they
no,
just govern them. Like it's just like a political takeover. That's how I perceive the Empire. And it's like a
but
subjugation
it also
kind of
just
thing, but
depends on
like the
like what's
gems
going
are.
on.
It doesn't seem like the gems are subjugating anyone. They're just like killing everyone from this. It seems like conquer. I guess conquer could be subjugation. Interesting. We don't have enough information.
No, and we also don't know like what planets the crystal gem like that the gems to like homeworld like how many planets have they conquered? Like, do they like so they built a base on the moon knowing that there is no life on the moon, preparing to take over Earth that clearly has life on it. So like or do they do this often? Like do they normally just blow up whole planets full of like aliens and like living things or
Yeah, and the other difference between the kind of world-eating mythology I was talking about, the examples I was talking about, is that you're right. They seemed like they're going to slowly kind of consume Earth rather than have like a giant entity like like eat it, right? Like I feel like a natural direction you could go with the gems is they
like
have
the
some
crystal wasn't
the crystal. Yeah, that wasn't what they wanted to do, right? Yeah.
yeah.
It seems like they could eventually. I mean, maybe this is what they're doing with the cluster, but they could eventually bring in like a Galacticus type of thing that just eats planets. But I don't know if that's actually what it does. But
They're clearly draining, like clearly their plan is to
an atrocity type
drain
thing. Yeah.
Earth of its
Is
resources.
that their plan? I don't know. I don't know if we can
They
say
did
that.
well, they talked about they put like their well, Peridot specifically had a line about perfect like about resources, like how like the perfect taking and like processing of resources. So I don't think they plan to live on Earth. Like the plan was like they have kindergartens to make more gems, like maybe like an outpost, but then they also did say something about using the resources. And then they
Uh,
said
when did she
Gal
say resources?
literally when she was talking about everything, talking about the planet, like it was right there in the
Talking
middle
about a
of
lot
it.
of stuff. Well, yeah, I'll look
Yeah, no,
back.
she specifically had a line about resources. I just can't remember word for word, but I do remember the word
I mean, it
resources.
definitely seems like they want to like breed more gems, right? Like
Yeah, no, they're
clearly,
making
we
more
clearly know
gems.
they're doing that.
And then they had galaxy warp. So it sounds like it's just kind of like an
And
outpost, like
warps are just
just
moving back and forth, and we don't know what the spires
yeah.
do.
Yeah, so it could just be like outposts or like whatever they like to travel.
And I guess like they need to like absorb resources to take to like make more gems anyway.
Yeah.
So I guess
It's like
those are connected concepts.
well, and I mean, and we do have this established like with the kindergarten, like how the kindergarten kind of works. Like they go to a planet and they're like, okay, we're gonna make gems here. We don't really know how it works, but like they make gems. So obviously they need places like Earth or whatever, like some sort of resource or just a place where they have to have gems.
Well, if gem birth requires energy, then they probably need to not absorb the energy of their home world, right? So that's why they would go to other places.
that is beg the question, like, what does Homeworld look like?
We don't know
Have
what
they
Homeworld
drained
is. Yeah.
like have they drained Homeworld dry, or
Is
is it like
is Homeworld
Gallifrey
like
and they just don't want to touch it?
is it like an artificial planet, or is it like a
Yeah.
yeah? So we'll see on that. Okay, there's a lot of stuff here. Oh, more to talk about tomorrow. Obviously, I feel like tomorrow's probably going to be more focused on Peridot and
Yeah.
what's going on there rather than like
Mythology.
or mythology like this. So I think mythology heavy episodes like this can lose their sense of character. I think this episode is very good character wise in the beginning. How do you think it dealt with maybe giving us more mythology wise than we've ever seen before in the second half?
Like how like I think it I mean it didn't do anything like badly, and it wasn't and it also wasn't anything like we're forcing it down your throat.
It was
We're
closer. This was much closer to that than any time they've done it previously, for sure. But um, yeah, well, they insert little moments like
well, they do it very well. We're used to getting this kind of information from Peridot, and that's why it's so great with Peridot, because literally this is what her character is for, and it's not annoying because this is just who Peridot is, and like it's a useful thing to have as a character like Peridot who does things like this, and then just of course she gave us all this information. This is Peridot.
yeah, and it does. It mostly makes sense what she says. Here, I agree. Yeah. Yeah. I think that I actually think the first half's episode is much stronger than the second half, despite we this getting all this intriguing info because we have less character moments with the gems and Peridot. I think we do get enough that it's still really good overall. Like I think this is probably it's also part one of part two. It's hard to
Yeah.
it's always really hard for me to evaluate the return. Um, and
And
I,
we have a lot of things with like it is a problem with Steven Universe episodes just in general, especially episodes like this, is that we don't get a lot of breathing room for things like this. Like we find out new information or like something happens and there's with I mean the show's like 11 minutes an episode. There's just not a lot of breathing room, which it works fine. Like Steven Universe has always worked very well in its format. It's just things like this there's not a lot of breathing room and it's a two-part episode, so
yeah. Overall, very high on this. Pretty high on it.
I'd say pretty high. It's just like I do think I'm higher up on the second half of the episode than you are because I really enjoyed that part and
Yeah, I mean,
like Peridot.
I need to rewatch it. I watched. It's a fault. I watched the first time and I'm focused on like what they're saying, right?
Also, I just really loved at the end, talking about Rose and like all of the gems, and that was just great. Like how they all got mad and like that entire exchange was great.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty good. Definitely in love with the song. I love what they're doing with Peridot's arc. So we're not going to do predictions because there's spoilers out there. But Peridot
Oh,
tomorrow.
I haven't seen spoilers.
That's good. Good. Well, maybe you can. Well, there's still because people might be like, "Oh, were they spoiled?" Like it's.
I
Um,
avoid them like the plague. Like I didn't even listen to this
there
song
was some
today.
absurd picture on Tumblr I just saw before this episode. I think it's fake. If you know what, like, there's like some character in it, unexpected character. I think it's fake. But yeah. So the biggest thing tomorrow. I mean, okay, so Paradise going to take this thing. She's going to contact presumably Yellow Diamond. I mean, it seems to be leading up to that with her freaking out at the statue today, and then either the question is it Yellow Diamond? Is it another like someone lower on the totem pole? Do they come to Earth? Are they just like a projected? Is it like a call? And then Peridot like decides what to do with that. It's like
Yeah,
she's given an out to go to the homeworld.
right. Because that's the only thing that matters. Because the only reason she's helping the gems is because she's like, well, I'm on Earth, and if Earth blows up, that's bad.
I do assume it'll take some unexpected turn from that, but
Oh yeah,
I do think so. Again, like I was talking about in the beginning episode, the impetus is the ease. If Peridot goes back to Homeworld with Yellow Diamond, which I don't think it seems like is happening, right? Because we're hyper
right.
focused on her. But if that's what's happened, then that is more. Then that will instantly be believable because her entire life she's indoctrinated with the gem philosophy. We see in the answer that this is like her purpose, that this is like gems are just like have a purpose. They don't really have individuality, and Peridot's been gaining individuality. But if she goes back, then that's instantly people. The more interesting scenario, not the more interesting one, but like the one that's harder to justify from a show writing perspective, if she betrays her entire background. Um, and we'll see if it's. I mean, I think they probably built up enough to do that, but it's like that's a big plot thing to do, a character thing. It's tough. It's
Well, I do
usually
also
not where these plot lines go.
well, we also have to consider like what Yellow Diamond's going to do. Like if she contacts Yellow Diamond and like Yellow Diamond could say something and Peridot's not, wait a minute.
Yellow Diamond could be like, let's kill all the crystal gems right now, right? Then that would
Yeah,
give her pause. Yeah.
or like say something just completely like terrible to Peridot, like because clearly Peridot just wants to like be acknowledged.
Well, even so, Peridot's default should be to follow whatever Yellow Diamond says.
Yeah, but I mean there is a chance I do think that Yellow Diamond could, and that's actually probably the more believable option is that Yellow Diamond would say something that would give Peridot pause, which would then lead into like betraying Homeworld.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean,
Which
we'll see.
they could go either way.
Either way,
There's
we'll
no
be
easy
talking
way.
about the redemption arc tomorrow. Check your TV tropes on this, and we will we will cite past examples, and it will be an entire thing. So tomorrow, the mid-season finale looks like they've never said this, but I'm just assuming. You know, this was like very obviously one of the bigger episodes in the show history. So that's obviously looks right. And then there's a random episode on Friday, so that's great.
Like who even?
It is interesting that Joe and Jeff did part 1 of this, and then Raven and Paul are doing part 2, which is pretty atypical. Joe and Jeff usually get the most important episodes, but this one was very important, obviously. I'm interested to see how big next week is, how much stuff is going to happen, or
Yeah,
tomorrow is.
yeah, I'm not 100% this is going to be like the biggest thing ever.
I mean, yeah, I think you should think about it more in terms of the Lapis mid-season episodes than the
like it's not
Lapis episodes
this
weren't
isn't
huge, but they're
this
still
isn't going to be like I don't know.
probably no spaceships. Maybe though, I don't know. We could see spaceships.
We could.
We were on the moon today, so that's kind of big. Okay.
Maybe I think we should look at this as Avatar: The Invasion. Like this is what we're looking
I mean,
at.
Gow's episode was pretty big though.
But like what I mean is like what will follow. Like we're gonna have like I think that's where we're going right now is like the episodes between the invasion and Imbralian players. Like we're getting to that point.
Yeah, but I mean it's hard because like the show's gonna go on for a while, right? So we have confirmed 75 more episodes of the show, so we have a lot of time here. So like how big really can we go unless we like fundamentally change what the show is? I already think we have fundamentally changed what the show is, so I think that we can continue in that direction. But yeah, okay. I'm Dylan Nice, and that's Delaney Stovall. You can find out more about this podcast at overlyanimated.com. You can support us at patreon.com/overlyanimated. Thanks to our current patrons, Shayna, Mitch Cordell, Beatrice, Nate, Andy, Jamie, and Rachel, aka Hey Nephew, Mitch Cordell, University, Beatrix Strange, Buzz Like Your Mailman, and Rachel Rose. Back tomorrow to talk about more Steven Universe, and on Friday, and I'm hoping the show is weekly then thereafter on Thursdays, and we'll cover it then. Yeah, get your theories in. Message us on Tumblr, call it now, although spoilers, so you can't really theorize on anything, which is the annoying part. I really think that thing is fake, by the way, if people know what that is. So yeah, thanks for listening, guys. We will see you next time. Bye.
Bye.